The Dodgers just took the biggest hole on the roster and turned it into a weapon. Edwin Diaz is a Los Angeles Dodger. The ninth inning is officially locked down, and the rest of baseball can feel the shift. The champs aren't cruising, they're loading up for another run.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Harry Ruiz. That's Travis Rodgers, and it's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. On today's show, built it and they will come. Dave Roberts didn't think they needed a big splash, and the Dodgers signed Edwin Diaz. The best closer in the market will be rocking Dodger blue very, very soon. Wow, Travis.
Yeah, I mean, just when you think they're not going to do anything, they go out and they do something like that. Incredibly excited. Can't wait to get into it on today's episode of Locked On Dodgers, brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long.
No doubt about it. Travis, he is live every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m., steering the ship on the Travis and DeMarco Show on 710 ESPN LA. And if you're not in LA or near a radio, you can listen right on the ESPN LA app. As for me, when I'm not calling touchdowns for USC or whenever the Raiders eventually score in Spanish, I'm here with you, talking Dodgers, breaking it all down every weekday. If this is your first time hanging out with us, welcome to the family. And for our everydayers, you already know you're the heartbeat of Locked On Dodgers. All right, the Dodgers just found their closer. We asked this offseason, who closes games for the Dodgers? Heck, if the season started this past Monday, I really had no clue. Travis would have gone with Tanner Scott. Myself, no. We didn't have a real answer besides, hopefully, Tanner Scott pitches better in 2026 than he did last year. Well, now we do have an answer that everyone is happy with. Edwin Diaz is a Los Angeles Dodger on a 3-year, $69 million deal, the highest average annual value ever given to a relief pitcher. The Dodgers needed this guy, and they got him, Travis.
Yeah, they went out and they did what they've done for the last several years, which is who's the best available player on the market, evaluate whether or not they have a need at that particular position, and then go get what they want. It is exactly what you hope your team does. It is exactly the dream scenario of every sports fan in every sport, that you have an owner that wants to win as badly as you do, that you have an executive that is as aggressive as you would be if you were sitting in that chair, and somebody that's as smart as anyone else running a team in any other sport anywhere. And that's exactly what the Dodgers have. Now, we'll see what Edwin Diaz looks like. I'm incredibly excited. He is as good as there is on the market right now. His career has, done a little of this. It's a little it's kind of gone up and down. He's had amazing seasons. He's had some seasons that have just been okay. I think that's pretty typical of a reliever. But what they've done is they've turned what was at least potentially a soft spot on their roster and turned it into at least potentially a strength in this roster, right? Where if Tanner Scott comes back, and look, he doesn't have to go to be a 10 out of 10 closer the way that, he was in San Diego briefly, but if he's usable, now all of a sudden you've got Diaz in 9, you've got Scott in 7 or 8, you've got Avezia, you've got Abanda, you've got whoever else you want to throw in there. And now, instead of having to lean on starters to fill holes in the postseason, you've got relievers to fill reliever holes. You've got guys that can cover some innings over the course of the regular season. It's super exciting. And, look, Harry, here's the thing. This is the kind of thing that makes other people in baseball go, give me a break, man. Seriously? Like, this is what they went out and did. And I kind of sort of get it a little bit, but as a Dodger fan, it's incredibly exciting, and we're going to get the best, ninth inning entrance in baseball coming to Dodger Stadium. I can't wait to see it.
And we'll talk about the numbers and everything later in the show about how the winning culture attracts stars to pick LA when a similar contract potentially keeps them wherever they are at. But the Dodgers right here, they get a guy that last year had a 1.63 ERA, 28 saves in 31 chances. 98 strikeouts in 66 innings, a fastball that touches 100, and a slider that might be illegal in some countries. So right here, this is perfect because you talk about Edwin Diaz. In 31 chances, he blew 28 saves. The Dodgers bullpen blew 27 saves last season. Crazy. That's not a typo. That's 27 saves, where if they had just not blown one or two of those saves, they would have played at home with home field advantage during the World Series. If they hadn't blown a couple of more of those, they would have had the first seed and could have avoided the wild card round. It's as simple as that. And you look at the guy that they brought in Tanner Scott, he had double-digit blown saves. So that right there is like, okay, here is the just don't get to this level. You have, and I was talking about it yesterday, Travis, with the Mets. One of those blown saves was the difference between them making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. With the Dodgers, the team blew 27 saves and they still were divisional champions and they still were able to win the World Series. So right here, Edwin Diaz, he has a way bigger cushion that hopefully he doesn't need, but that it will be there available for him. But because of that, right here, October, you saw something wild. Starters in the bullpen. Now, I don't feel that we're going to have that need anymore unless, and I knock on wood over here at home, there's an injury.
Yeah, look, the Dodgers, the last 3 times they've won the World Series, they've won the World Series with a starting pitcher on the mound. So I'm not closing the door on that possibility. This is the way that they've operated when they've been really close to it. That as good as Edwin Diaz is, I don't know if he's better than one of their starting pitching options, but that is the ultimate example of a champagne problem, right? This is not something.
It was more out of need, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. But again, you had guys like you go back to
Kenley in 2020.
Yeah.
Who did you trust in 24 to be the closer? 25, it was
nobody. But again, that wasn't the plan at the beginning of any of those seasons either. That Kenley was supposed to be the guy. It didn't work out. You had last year or 24 where guys were dropping left and right. It didn't work out. Last year, you had a bullpen that was supposed to be loaded with guys. It didn't work out. The point that I'm trying to make is that you have a two-way go, which is the ultimate thing. That we got plan A, and if plan A works, then great. We don't have to worry about it. But if it doesn't, we've got plan B. And in the Dodgers case, you probably got a C, a D, and E. You've got all of these different options that you can go do it. Look, I think Diaz is going to be really good. He's been good more often than he hasn't been good. But once bitten, twice shy a little bit with me in relief pitchers as far as guys coming in at high dollar values. I'm optimistic. I like it. I don't know if this was something they had to do. I think this is more of something that they decided to do. I still think they're going to go and fix their outfield problem. I still wouldn't be surprised if you see a trade of some sort or another, but they did what we all hope they do, which is come in there, say, what's going on over there? Back of the bullpen didn't look great. All right, well, Diaz is pretty darn good. Let's go get him. And they slide him right in there. And it's going to be exciting. I think that they've turned a weakness into a strength with one move, because I know that you and I disagree on this, but I think Scott will be at worst okay. I don't know if he'll be lights out, but I think he'll be usable where he wasn't much of last season. So, you got a couple of guys that have been all-stars before at the back end of the bullpen. That is a really, really great place to start any season.
No doubt about it. And now having Diaz on your roster, that's like something where you're like, hey, he is our closer. The 9th inning is his. It doesn't matter unless there's like a 3-game stretch where you need a save. He might get 2 of those days and you have somebody else with the other one, but he is the 9th. Tanner Scott, he's now slotted into that 8th inning, which I would feel more comfortable with him being a setup guy than being a closer, because he crumbled under pressure in 2025. And maybe that was the deal when he was in a team like San Diego, where they hope to be good, but the reality is they will always be Lil Bro to the Dodgers at best. It's like a different situation. Now that he's with the Dodgers under the lights of playing in front of 50,000 plus fans every single night, it just wasn't for him. That white jersey with the blue lettering, that was like, ooh, boy. Now with him in the 8th, I feel a little bit better. And then the bridge is way shorter now. Vesia, Trinan, Banda, Gratterall, Henriquez, whoever you want to put in there in the bullpen. It's like, okay, the starters, Travis, I mean, you'll be able to manage them even more now, where it's like, okay, guys, 5 innings, just go out there, be eligible for the win.
Yeah.
And then the bullpen will take care of business.
Yeah, no, they've made a great move. It is a great move. My only, and reservation is way too strong of a word. I don't have reservations about this. I guess my curiosity, I guess is a better word of it, is how does he perform? Like you were just saying about Tanner Scott, and I don't know if I entirely agree about it was a pressure issue. It could be. Look, relief pitchers are wildly inconsistent. It happens all the time where they're not good and then they're great, and then they're not great and then they're great again. They're kind of all over the place, and so it could be a mechanical thing, it could be a confidence thing, it could be a million different things. But when he comes in there, I can't wait to see it, because if all of a sudden we have another, think about all the great things we've had here at Dodger Stadium. We've had Game Over Gagne with Welcome to the Jungle coming out. We've had Kenley Jansen with California Love coming out. And now we get to see Edwin Diaz with the trumpets coming out. This is one of the best shows in baseball. And if it's just coming in to close one after the next, after the next, after the next, it's going to be, not that it's never not a great opportunity to be at Dodger Stadium, but what an incredible sight that's going to be if we get to see that, 25, 30, 35, 40 times. It's going to be amazing.
No doubt about it. The best part here, Travis, is that the Dodgers went from hoping to protect leads to expecting to protect leads, having a guy like Edwin Diaz in the roster. And the closer position, in my opinion, is now a strength for this team, which is something that they absolutely needed. And
100%.
We're going to stay on the topic the rest of the show, because next on Locked On Dodgers, Dave Roberts, yesterday we were talking about it. He said they didn't even need a big splash. So why did the Dodgers go and make the biggest bullpen move of the winter anyway? Strategy, money, and the new reality of Dodger baseball.
NFL Sundays, they move fast, really fast, unless the Harry's Raiders are involved. Then a little different. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so incredibly exciting, because you're not just watching the game, right? You're reacting to it in real time, because with FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, and of course, every highlight moment. And live betting is best when the game starts to change, right? A receiver starts to get hot, a defense tightens up and the ball's not moving, and the momentum flips after that huge turnover. We saw it happen on Monday night the other night, right? 5 turnovers just constantly back and forth. And FanDuel lets you jump right into that. Live spreads, money lines, they adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet the next touchdown score, drive results, totals, and a whole lot more. And it's going to keep you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of all that action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you.
Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. Check out our YouTube channel where you can subscribe for free. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and more. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everydayer here on Locked On Dodgers. We don't need a splash, so we made one anyway. Let's get this straight. Dave Roberts said on Monday that the Dodgers didn't need a big splash, and on Tuesday they signed the best closer on the market. That's why, Travis, this organization is so dangerous for the rest of baseball, because to the Dodgers, a splash is just a Tuesday morning. This is the second straight offseason where the Dodgers went into winter with a budget, had a plan for short-term deals, and said they weren't chasing long contracts. And then they did whatever it took to get the guy that they wanted. Last year, it was Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates. This year, it was Edwin Diaz.
And Blake Snell last year, too. Him too, right? And Roki Sasaki. I mean, you go out there, and this is just, to your point, Harry, if they see something that they want to get done, they go out there and get it done. And like you said, I don't think it's a kind of a damn the torpedoes moment where it's just, we'll give you whatever you want. Just, fill in the contract yourself. They'll pay, and they'll pay the going rate, and they will pay premium prices for premium talent, but they don't do something crazy like we've seen before. I use this as the example because it was such a terrible deal. It's not an Anthony Rendon contract. It's not a Xander Bogaerts contract. It's one of those things like, okay, even even if it goes badly, and I don't think it will, you're out of it relatively quickly. You're not going to carry these things on the books. The guys that they've given really long contracts to, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, these are guys that I would be stunned if they went bad before this thing was at least near the end. So there's that. But to your point, and that's why when Dave Roberts said about the big splash or that they weren't looking to make one, I went, sure. Like that's just one of those. I have a phrase, I use this on Locked On Rams a lot. I'm going to go by what you do, not by what you say, because by what you say, you're trying to confuse people. You're trying to mislead people. You're not going to show, if you're playing poker with somebody, you don't turn around and show them your cards and say, this is what I got. This is what I'm trying to bet you. You say, you sit there and you wait. And I think that's what the Dodgers are doing. When Dave Roberts said they weren't going to make a splash, I'm sure he knew they were on the 1 yard line with Edwin Diaz. But if he kind of went wink, hey, listen, man, we're getting ready. Who knows who else might have wanted to get in on that and might have gone and made one of those crazy bad deals. And, at that point, if Diaz is getting 69 from the Dodgers and making stuff up here, if the Padres came in and said, we'll give you 89, well, okay, that deal, the Dodgers aren't going to do that. So they got their guy. They got their guy by playing a little poker. They got their guy by, I don't want to say lying, but at least being a little cagey about all of this stuff. So I go by what you do, and what the Dodgers have done is they want premium players. They go and they get them.
You just mentioned some of the contracts that, in your opinion, might be some of the worst in baseball. The Athletic a week ago posted the 10 contracts that they consider are the worst. Chris Bryant is at the top of the list. Rendon is number 2. Trout, number 3. Anthony Santander with the Blue Jays, number 4. And Jock Peterson, number 5. In the top 10, there is a Dodger, Tanner Scott. Yeah. And I'll give the Dodgers all the credit in the world, which it was a year ago that they gave Tanner Scott that contract, which is considered one of the 10 worst in all of baseball. And they still went out there and they were able to get a closer for the highest annual average in all of the sport, despite them biting the bullet after 2025.
Yeah, look, Scott had a terrible year. He did, full stop. They paid him a lot of money. They gave him a 4-year deal to do it. So it's certainly trending towards a bad deal. But if he has another season similar to what he did last year, then it's officially on that list. Chris Bryant has been bad for multiple years. Anthony Rendon was bad the entire time he was in Anaheim. You look at Mike Trout, he hasn't really played very much over the last few years of his career. These are multiple seasons in a row where it's been really, really bad. Scott's on one. If he has 2, 100% he should be on that list. No question about it. But until, again, I know I'm a broken record. The everydayers are probably like, yeah, we get it, Trav. But relief pitchers, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. It's incredibly, even you look at Diaz, he's had 3 seasons with an ERA of under 1.5. He's had 3 seasons with an ERA over 3.5. So it's just, it's all over the map with these guys. He was bad last year, but if he comes back this year, he's off the list, right? Mike Trout's not getting off the list. Chris Bryant's not getting off the list. Rendon's not getting off the list. Those guys are in there for good. There's just not enough time. There's been too many bad years. Scott at least has a fighting chance to get off the list.
Yeah, no, Diaz had a fantastic, incredible year in 22. Then in 23, it was that freak World Baseball Classic injury that left him out. And then in 2024, you had him have a bad season. And then last year, he led the National League in ERA and in strikeouts. It's just the world of sports where sometimes you are that same consistent guy the whole way. And then you start getting 1 year good, 1 year bad, 1 year good, 1 year bad. And look, right now, even if we get half of what Edwin Diaz was in 2025, I feel that we're in a good spot. And the Dodgers, they're the masters of this. They push the Pharaohs. They use short terms. They aren't scared to break annual average records if it is for the correct deal, because if there's a weapon out there, they know they can buy it. They know they're in a strong position financially that maybe there aren't other teams that can do so. Last year, like we said, Tanner Scott, at first I was like, great, we got him for 4 years. And now it's like, damn it, we got him for 4 years. Good thing Kirby Yates was a 1 year deal. Micah Conforto was a 1 year deal. And now those 2 guys can retire having a World Series ring in their hand. Good for him. But then Scott and Yates, they never even pitched in October. A normal team would pull back. The Dodgers, they doubled down because they're chasing history. They want a three-peat. They want to win 4 in a row. They don't care what they have to do. They're going to go and do it.
I agree with all of that. Everything you said, I agree with. There's one thing, though, that I would like to add on to it. They can continue to do it because they can, right? Some of these other teams that if they make some bad mistakes, that's it. You know, that we tried, didn't work. I don't have any money left, or at least they pretend they don't have any money left, and they're not willing to go beyond. You know, the Dodgers have made a couple of deals that haven't worked out, but it didn't get them to say, okay, we're never doing that again. They continue to push forward. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, which is they want it as much as any team I've ever seen. That, like to your point, Harry, they don't. 3 in 6 years, great. Being in the World Series 5 times in 10 years, great. What are we going to do right now? How can we get better for 2026? And especially with the uncertainty beyond 2026, I think there's at least a possibility that this will be the last full season we see for a minute. Hopefully it doesn't last very long, but I certainly think it's a possibility. Why not get 3 in a row going into this thing? So I love their aggressiveness. I like that they're still pretty strategic how they do it, but they do have an incredible, you know, safety net, for lack of a better word, that even if you do a Tanner Scott deal, and let's say he's just as bad next year as he was this year, it's like, okay, you know, fine, let's just go get another one. And not a lot of teams have the opportunity to do that. Or the attraction to where somebody else will go, yeah, I'll go do it. Like I'll jump right into it. This isn't, you know, the use the Padres where, yeah, I mean, they're pretty good. San Diego's a nice place to live, but I don't know, man. You're in the division with this King Kong over here that you're never going to beat. The Dodgers are King Kong.
Yeah, and the Dodgers, they were in on Raisel Iglesias. They were chasing Ryan Helsley. They were willing to stretch on Robert Suarez. They even pushed to 3 years with Devin Williams, and that didn't work out. Williams ended up with the Mets, so the Dodgers pivoted and pulled the heist of the offseason. Because let's remember, Diaz opted out looking for 5 years when he already had a 5-year contract.
Yep.
And then the Dodgers didn't want to go that long. So they said, what if we give you more money per year? Would you give us a few years? And boom, a record annual average, 3 years, perfect fit. That's how contenders operate. And coming up on Locked On Dodgers, why do stars take less to come to LA? Why do players choose the Dodgers over bigger, potentially even longer offers? Well, build it and they will come. The World Cup is coming back to North America for the first time since 1994. And with 48 teams for the first time ever, it's going to be massive. But let's be honest, getting tickets is usually the hardest part. That's why the Gametime app is clutch, finally giving fans a real advantage when it comes to snagging seats. With Gametime, you can track price drops in real time, get alerts when great seats open, and buy tickets the moment they hit the app. It puts the power back in your hands and makes going to the World Cup realistic instead of impossible. Here's how it goes. You pull up the app, and the layout makes it so simple to scroll through matchups and compare seat views. Pick a game, tap a section, and have your tickets locked in within minutes. No confusion, no hunting for the fine print. Take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets and every match, concert, or event with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram. Just replace the R on the D on Dodgers with an R, and that's the way you write Rodgers. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. Build it, and they will come. Edwin Diaz walked away from a deal that paid him more per year. Let me repeat, he could have made $22 million next year with the Mets. Why? Because he had that qualifying offer. Instead, he signed with the Dodgers for a lower annual number once the deferrals are factored in. Why? You ask yourself, because this team wins.
Wins.
That's why. As
yeah,
easy
no,
as that.
Look, there are three things that players decide on based on where they want to go play. And it's almost always in this order. Okay. Who's going to pay me the most? That's number one. Right. And by the way, my hand be in the air too, that if you're going to pay me a lot more to go somewhere else, I'll go over there because I need to take care of people, et cetera, et cetera. And in athletics, number two, I got a chance to win. Great. If I can get the money and a chance to win, everything else is easy. The third one is location, and that's for typically older players that are looking to be in a place where maybe they're near their families or the weather's a little better, things, post-career opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. But the Dodgers check the two most important boxes, and just by default happen to have the third box checked for most people. And then the third box is a hell no, I'm never going to LA. LA's for crazy people and all that. It's like, you're never changing that guy's mind, right? If he thinks LA is, a place that he doesn't want to live, you're never going to change him around. That's just, we all know people that don't like LA. I think they're wrong, but that's how they think. So whatever. But win and pay. Yeah, I'll come. Why not? I got a chance. Like, think about Alex Call last year when they made the trade to bring him in. And, I know they talked about this. The first thing he thought of is, I'm going to the World Series. Well, guess what? He did. and he got a ring, and he's got a chance to go get another one. And I think that, a player like Diaz, who's had success, he's got taken care of everybody that needs to take care of economically and financially. Now he can try to go win. And look, the Mets have chances to win. Steve Cohen spends a lot of money, and he's going to be competitive and all those things, but they don't have the system cranked up the way the Dodgers do. So it's a massive advantage that they can check as many boxes as they do.
No doubt about it. And look, there's other teams that spend. The Mets, they have the richest owner in all of baseball. They spend. The Yankees spend. Well, now they might be wanting a salary cap and crying foul because the Dodgers spend so much money. Shout out to my guy, JT the Brick. The Phillies, they spend. The Dodgers, they spend and win. That right there is a massive difference because, look, the Mets, they've played in one World Series since 2001. The Yankees have won one World Series title in the last 15 years. The Phillies, they made it once to the World Series in the last, since 2010. So the last 15 years too. The Dodgers, they have made it to 5 World Series over the last 9 years. That's the stage where every person that ever grabs a baseball in the glove they want to play in. The Dodgers, they've been in more than half over the last 9 years. They're the defending back-to-back World Series champions, and they're going for more. Players notice this. Edwin Diaz didn't need a 5-year deal when it came to coming to the Dodgers. He wants a ring. He wants a parade. He wanted that clubhouse, the culture, the October expectations where, with all due respect for the Mets, they might have Juan Soto, they might have Francisco Lindor, but then what else do they have? And are they at the level as the Dodgers? They have a decent rotation. They're not even close to sniffing the Dodgers rotation. Same thing with the rest of the squad.
They don't have
if they have Pete Alonso back.
They don't have the infrastructure, and this is why what the Dodgers have scares the what out of so many other teams, because we've seen good teams before. We've seen teams go on runs where, like, you could think of the Atlanta Braves for, they were in the division championship for the playoffs year after year. The Yankees had a nice, long, and very successful run. We've seen teams like then the Cleveland Indians, where they're in the playoffs over and over again. But it felt like it was going to be one of those, all right, let's see if we can do this. And then the machine breaks down, because to have both of these, you can either spend a lot of money and hope to buy a lot of guys and hit it and have it hit right, and you get it, and then they age out and you got to start over. Or you can try to do what the Florida Marlins at the time, the Miami Marlins now. We're going to go all young. Hopefully you get Miguel Cabrera and Josh Beckett and all these guys at exactly the right time, and Bobby Bonilla, and you put them all together and it hits exactly right in that moment when they're young before you have to pay them. And then you tear the whole thing down and you start over. The Dodgers have a two-way go. The Dodgers have all the money in the world that they need to spend to go get and pay for Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto and Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. And they also have this incredible developmental program. They have this incredible scouting and developmental where they're picking the right. Think about where the Dodgers pick in the draft. They pick at the bottom every single year. Think about who's going out there and getting huge outs in big situations. It's Emmett Sheehan, it's Robleski, it's guys like Gavin Stone a couple of years ago, like the Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May. These are guys that they go out and find. Will Smith is a guy you go out and find. Cody Bellinger won an MVP. Corey Seager. Like, they're developing these guys at the very same time they're buying other guys. That's a machine that keeps itself running. The Mets don't have that backfill where, yeah, sure, we can go and get Juan Soto. Who's going to get somebody out? Who's going to protect Juan Soto? Like, they just don't have all the pieces there. And I think that's why everybody looks at the Dodgers and thinks, oh, no, because even if one of those things starts to falter a little bit, the other thing's going to be able to cover it.
Yeah, and shout out Will Klein, a name you didn't mention, but Game 3 of the World Series, he was massive as well, and a young guy on this organization. But going back to Diaz, this is what built it and they will come means. You don't have to beg stars. You become the place that winners want to be at. This is a franchise where Shohei Ohtani wants to spend his prime, where pitchers want to come and be developed, where hitters want to be protected in that lineup, and closers want to hold leads in October. And the result, Edwin Diaz plus closer in the market. He is a Dodger for 3 years.
Yeah, no, they call you, right? This is the dream scenario where the calls are incoming. You know, whether you're a salesperson or anything else, you got a business and the calls are coming in that you don't have to go out and beat the bushes, or even better, both. You got calls coming in and you've got aggressive salespeople that are out trying to find new leads and get new customers and new partners and everything else. So you get them both ways. That's what the Dodgers have. They can sit there and do this and have their hands back and say, oh, hey, yeah, what's up, Edwin? Sure, we're interested. What you have in mind? Or they can pick up the phone and go out and get a Shohei Ohtani and say, let me tell you what we can do for you. So it's just it is a perfect scenario. And they've taken advantage of it. And I expect them to continue to take advantage of it for as long as the system's in place.
All our hermanos Boricuas that are out there already support the Dodgers with Kike Hernandez. Now, can you imagine with Edwin Diaz even more? I got a feeling those number 39 jerseys are going to be flying off the racks once Diaz makes his debut. And I can't wait to see that first appearance at Dodger Stadium, because if with Alex Vesia that intro looks amazing, can you imagine what they can do with Edwin Diaz? It's unbelievable. I can't wait. I can't wait for that to happen. And man, is it opening day already? Please, I need that day to just arrive here for us. All right, that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. If you're still craving more baseball talk, have the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night be your second listen. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow as the winter meetings wrap up. Will another move be in the horizon for the boys in blue 15 minutes after we finish recording this podcast like yesterday, Travis?
Maybe. Like I said, I go by what they do, not by what they say. So who knows? They might do something.
Absolutely. All right. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real. Keep it Dodger Blue.